So I've talked about the DCU Justice League and what I want that to look like, who I want on the team, and why. And that got me thinking, and I even mentioned in that video, about who I would want on the DCU's version of the Teen Titans, and what that kind of team would look like, what that dynamic would look like. Because just like the Justice League, as I had mentioned, the Teen Titans are a team that go through so many changes, and they have so many versions and different like vibes of the teams, and honestly different ages as well. Like, obviously it's in the name Teen Titans, but sometimes they feel younger, and other times they feel like they're basically full-grown adults that shouldn't even be called teens. But nonetheless, I think it's a really fun team. My first interaction, or my first introduction to this team, was with the Teen Titans cartoon, basically anime on Cartoon Network, and I loved them since then. That is to this day my definitive version. However, that's not exactly the team that I would pick for this DCU. Now, before I get started, I just want to say this is just my opinion. So if yours changes or if yours differs, let me know down below. There's no need to go at each other's throats for opinions on comic books. Even though I say that, I know some people probably still will, but try to keep it classy. Starting out, I want to start with the leader, because I didn't do this with my Justice League video, but I do feel like the Teen Titans has a clear leader. The Justice League, however, they have Batman, they have Superman, Wonder Woman. They all kind of alter between leaders, I feel like. It is debated that, Batman is actually the true leader of the Justice League, which I wouldn't necessarily disagree with. But the Teen Titans, in my opinion, has one clear leader, one clear choice, and that, for me, is Robin. Now, with the DCU, this is going to be different than what I would want to say, because my initial gut reaction is I want it to be Dick Grayson's Robin. However, we know for a fact, James Gunn has said he wants to do Nightwing, which means, hypothetically, if he's following the comics, which he most likely will, that's Dick Grayson. So he's already long past being Robin. And if we, take his word on his Batman the Brave and the Bold statements so far, Damian Wayne is supposedly the current Robin of this DC universe. So with that being said, I guess it will have to be Damian Wayne. Again, I'm not big on the Damian Wayne Robin. I'm just not. I find him annoying. I find him to be more of a nuisance than anything. And, I'm just overall not a fan. However, I will say I'm willing to give it a shot. Like I said, I think Dick Grayson is the best version of Robin. I think he's the best, leader for the Teen Titans. And I would love to see that. And, who knows? Maybe James Gunn is going to make his Teen Titans movie set in the past, so it'll give some backstory to a lot of these characters and allow us to see them in the versions that we want to see them. Because I know a lot of people like me are kind of upset that we won't get to see a Dick Grayson Robin. We're going to see him just as Nightwing. So that'd be a really fun and cool way, to give fans the best of both worlds. And that's something I haven't really heard people say. But I think that'd be really interesting to do, like a kind of, prequel almost for the Teen Titans. Like, have the first movie be set in the past and have it be the origins of the team, and you could dive into a lot of stuff there. Moving on, and that's the thing, actually, really quick, that's going to change a lot of this list, because if we're going off the basis that this movie is set in current day, then some of these characters will change and get moved around. But next up, I really don't think you can have the Teen Titans without having Raven. Raven is essential. She's a very interesting character, and she's one that you could easily make like very dark. I think Titans did that pretty well. Not that Titans did much well, but I do think Titans tried to handle Raven with some respect and some gravity, and I appreciate them for doing that. I grew up on the animated one, and even in that one, she was pretty dark, pretty pretty intense in general. So I was pretty happy with that version. And then when the Teen Titans show came around, the live action show, I was a little bit less happy. So Raven, I think, is an essential one. It's kind of like the Justice League, honestly. a lot of these characters bring on different sides of, like, they can handle different sides of this universe. Raven is obviously very magic based, very fantastical, even for a fantastical world like this. So I think having a character like her on the team is essential, because that gives you so many routes you could take with just villains like Trigon. You could have them fighting off or facing off against demons. There's just a lot of fun stuff there. Not to mention, her relationship with the team is pretty cool, because she's very standoffish and she doesn't let many people in, but but the people on the team, and it kind of just shows you, it gives you like a point of reference for how connected and how strong this team is. Next up, I'm gonna put Starfire. Starfire is another one. This is where it gets tough, because, like, it's like I said, if we're not doing a Dick Grayson Robin on this team, then maybe Starfire should be older, because there's certain characters like Beast Boy and Raven where I feel like they could be younger. And honestly, I've always thought that they are younger than Robin and Starfire, and even like Cyborg. But a character like Starfire, I feel like her age is kind of tied to Dick Grayson, because they hook up in the comics. And again, I'm not saying the James Gunn's DCU is going to be beat for beat like the comics, but he does seem to follow them pretty closely and respect them, minus Superman's heritage. But yeah, I mean, I think Starfire would be a cool addition to this team. She's another one where it's like a different branch of this world, where she's more cosmic, more obviously alien, and it's a cool kind of yin and yang. So again, this list is just going hypothetically, like in a perfect world, I would have Starfire on the team. Next up, I'm going to put Beast Boy. Beast Boy is another one where, he's just a character where you say his name or you think of him and you think, yep, that's a Titan. That's a Teen Titan right there. There's no question about it. I think he is, I think he's tied to this team in a good way, honestly. And I think he brings a lot of fun to it. He brings a lot of levity, a lot of humor, and he like basically embodies a Teen Titan. And I think another one I'm going to add to this team that would be a really good contrast to, say, a Beast Boy would be a Blue Beetle. It's already confirmed, I believe, that Zolo is coming back as Blue Beetle. He obviously had his Blue Beetle movie in the old DC universe. However, James Gunn has, I think, seemingly confirmed that he will be in the DCU. And, Zolo's young enough where he could still easily be a Teen Titan. Even if it takes a while for this movie to get made, I think he could easily fit into this team. He might be a little bit of an older Teen Titan, but he could act as more of like a more slightly mature, but still, goofy, like Beast Boy friend. I think, Blue Beetle's a fun character, and like I said with Justice League, this could be a lot of people's first introductions to these characters, so having them done right is super important. And Blue Beetle is one where he doesn't really get enough exposure. So I think it would be cool to see him on here. Next up, I am going to put, and this one's tough. This is another one. I'm going to put Cyborg. And this one is one that changes because, it's like I said in my Justice League video. Depending on where James Gunn is taking this, you could easily have Cyborg just start on the Justice League. You don't even need him, on the Teen Titans. Or you can have him be on the Teen Titans and then move up to the Justice League. It's really, up to their discretion what they decide to do. And as I've said before, this is just me, speaking in my perfect world here. I would have Cyborg, a really fun character. He could be really mature. He could be kind of a more senior leader, along with like Robin or a Starfire. He has the tech side to him, which opens the door for a lot of, cool stuff. A lot of, his story could have a lot of complicated things dealing with. And honestly, you can mirror a lot of the stuff that teenagers go through with like identity and, finding out who they are with Cyborg. I think that's a lot of fun that not a lot of people seem to capitalize on too much. So yeah, I think he'd be a really fun addition. Next up, I have Wonder Girl, or Donna Troy. If you don't know, Wonder Girl is basically, Wonder Woman's Robin. Wonder Girl is a character I was introduced to, funny enough, in the live action Titan show. But, like I said, as much as that show does have flaws, I really enjoyed her character. And I think if she's done right, she could be super interesting. And the thing I'm kind of shooting for with this Titans team is to have some original characters in here for sure, but also have I want to have some mirrors of the Justice League. I want to have some, like, a Batman sidekick, Superman sidekick, Wonder Woman. Like, I want to have some of those, so then, down the line, it leads the way for a lot of fun dynamics. Like, you can have some clashing between the two teams of the Justice League and the Teen Titans. You can have a lot of fun stuff with that, and they've done some of it in animation and obviously a lot of it in comics, but I think it's just a really cool route to go. Not to mention, opening the door to having an Amazonian on the team is really fun and cool. So I think Donna Troy would be a great addition here. Next up, I have Wally West's Flash. Another really fun addition, and as I said in my Justice League video, I want a Barry Allen Flash for that Justice League team. That being said, I want Wally for the Teen Titans, because my ideal goal for this would be, the DCU introduces this team, they get everybody to fall in love with these characters, and then that leaves the door open for you to where you could honestly, age these characters up as the DCU goes. You can hopefully keep the actors. And then when the time comes, if you need to, you could replace a main hero and have one of these guys take over the mantle. And hopefully, if done right, audiences would not only buy that, but they would be welcoming of it, because, hopefully they would love these characters and these actors. And Wally's no different. Wally's a really fun character. He's very akin to, like, Beast Boy and Blue Beetle, in my opinion. But, he's so powerful. He has so much opportunity to show his strength, and he'd be a great and useful addition to this team. I said before, there's versions where Wally West is just on the Justice League, like in that animated show that I used to watch. But I think having Wally start on the Teen Titans would be perfect, and I think it would be a pretty seamless fit. Next up, I would do, this is tough. I want to say, actually, really quick before I reveal my next one, I just want to say I would include Superboy, but for the first Teen Titans movie, I would not do that. Just because, if you guys don't know, Superboy is basically a clone of Lex and Superman. He's like their child. And they kind of already did that in the Superman movie. Obviously, it's not Superboy, it's Ultraman. But still, that plot line is very, it's not only, just recently used, but it's just kind of like a lot to just do off screen, you know what I mean? Like, you'd either have to take up a chunk of this movie explaining what Superboy is and how he came to be, or you would just have to somehow explain it off screen and hope audiences buy into it after just seeing basically the exact same plot in Superman. So I just don't think he's the right choice. However, I will say I really like Connor Kent, and I think having him on this team would be awesome, because like I said, I would like to have mirrors of the Justice League on this team. I want to have like a Superboy, a Robin, an Aqualad or something. In an ideal world, that's what I would have. So it does suck that I can't include him on here, but that's just, my thought process for doing that. And, hopefully you guys kind of get what I'm saying. But yeah. Next up, I'm going to put Roy Harper. Roy Harper is a character who does not get nearly enough love in live action. Obviously, he has a long history in the comics. He is Green Arrow's ward, his sidekick. And he got some love in the Arrow TV show, but it was kind of weird, honestly. Like, it started strong, got a little funky, and he was just, towards the end, he was beaten in the ground like a dead horse. So, I would really like a true Roy Harper. I'd like to see what that looks like. I think he's a character that would, captivate a lot of audiences. And he's an interesting one for this team, because he would do well with, like, Robin, I imagine, because, they're both just humans, like street level heroes, but they're both very good at what they do. And both of their mentors have very similar, crusades. Oliver Queen is rich. He's a vigilante who, does what he does to get revenge. He's a little different than Batman, obviously, but I'm just saying, overall, pretty similar. And he also deals with a lot of personal struggles that would be interesting to tackle in a Teen Titans movie. I think, I think a lot of people would be able to relate to his character and to his struggles, and I think that'd be very useful to show somebody overcoming. So yeah, Roy Harper, another really really fun addition. I think he would round out the team well, and I'm trying not to stack this team too high. Like, I'm trying not to give it too many members because I'm not a big fan of the gigantic Teen Titans teams where it's like, unlimited characters. And I said that with my Justice League. I kept the Justice League to I believe 7 people just because I'm not a big fan of the huge teams. So I think that's where I would end my team, honestly. I think I would round it out with Roy and have that be my Teen Titans for now. I did not mention Aqualad because, again, Aquaman is just such a touchy character where I feel like, Aqualad could be cool, but it depends on what kind you do. Like if it's the Young Justice version, then that'd be sick. If not, it gets a little, I don't know how much audiences would like to see an Aquaman. And me personally, I'm just not big on Aqualad, so that's why I'm not including him here. But that is my list, my picks for my Teen Titans in the DCU, my ideal Teen Titans team. And, again, this could change and this could vary depending on how they do this Teen Titans movie. If it's set in the past, I think I would swap a lot of these out and change them. If not, this would be the team. Like I said, I'm kind of still mixed on Damian Wayne. I mean, maybe you could even have Damian Wayne's Robin be on the team, but have Nightwing lead them. I know they've done that before, so that could be kind of fun. But that's kind of, it's just a lot of Robins. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to go about that, but that is my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think below. What would your team look like, and why? Also, who is your favorite Teen Titan? Mine, by far, is Robin. Although I do feel like that's cheating because he's just so, so popular. So I guess, if I had to pick another one, I'd probably say Raven, honestly. Like, Raven's pretty cool. She's always been pretty sick, so Raven is definitely a favorite. All right, thanks, guys. I appreciate you listening, and I will see you in the next one.